She came to speak at a world leaders meeting to represent Tanzania and to stand for Africa. But as soon as she reached the passport check, something felt wrong. The French officer looked at her passport, then at her veil. Then he frowned. "Remove that," he said in English, pointing at her scarf. She said softly, "I am the President of the United Republic of Tanzania." But he didn't care. "Take it off, madam," he repeated. "This is France." Behind her, Tanzanian officials tried to explain. They showed documents. They called other security officers. Still, she was told to step aside. She was searched. She was questioned. Not once did they say, "Your Excellency." Not once did they say, "Welcome." She stood there for over 40 minutes, in silence. People walked by. Some stared, some laughed. One officer whispered to another, "She looks like one of them." But she didn't cry. She didn't shout. She stood still, with dignity. And when they finally realized who she was, it was too late. The damage was done. President Samia turned around, looked at her team, and said quietly, "We are going home." And with that, she refused the summit. She boarded her Tanzanian state plane and flew back to Africa. But what happened in that airport would not stay quiet for long. The sun had not yet risen over Dar es Salaam when President Samia's plane touched down. She did not speak to the press. She did not shout on television. She walked off the plane with her veil still on, her head held high, and went straight to the State House. But the silence did not last long. Someone on her team, maybe a guard, maybe a staff member, leaked the truth. And like fire catching dry grass, the story spread across the country, then across the continent. Radio stations interrupted their programs. President Samia humiliated in Paris. She was stopped like a common criminal because she wore a veil. On social media, the youth reacted first. One girl in Zanzibar posted, "If they treat a president like this, how will they treat our mothers?" Another in Nairobi wrote, "She went to speak peace." They answered with racism. Across the Muslim world, voices rose up. She is a Muslim. She is a woman. She is a leader. And still they disrespected her. Even in cities like Dakar, Abuja, and Khartoum, people who had never followed Tanzanian news before were now shouting her name, Samia.
Simply because she wore a veil. The president of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu, was humiliated in Paris. Even when she explained to those guys that she's the president of Tanzania and this is the reason she came to this country, they didn't listen to her. They treated her like a commoner. In fact, like a common criminal, humiliated her in the airport. Her aides and people were watching until they realized, and when they realized it was already too late. They had done what they wanted to do. They've humiliated her, they've disgraced her. Man, if this is real, according to how they said, if this is not allegedly, this president needs to be apologized to. Africans need to be apologized to because this humiliation is out of this world. How can you humiliate a president of a country like this? Simply because she wore a veil? Because she's black? Because she's Muslim? My God, look at what these people have reduced us to. That even our leaders are no longer respected. That even our leaders are no longer seen with pride and dignity. Even our leaders are no longer held in high esteem, treated like common criminals. Imagine those officers. According to them, they were doing their duty, performing their duty, doing what is needed. To the president, when your president come to our countries in Africa, we worship them, lick the ground on which they follow, and yet they can't even honor our own leaders. This is out of it. Leave what you think about this in the comments below.